Today is August the 5th, 2016. My name is Tanya Fincham. I'm with Oklahoma State University, and today I'm in Bonita, Oklahoma, speaking with
John Schlosser.
Thank you. And this is part of our Glass House project, so thank you for coming today.
You're welcome.
Let's begin with learning when and where you were born.
I was born in Gallipolis, Ohio, 1948.
A long way from here.
Yeah, quite a ways.
You have brothers and sisters.
I have a brother and an older brother and a younger sister.
And what brought you to Oklahoma?
Well, my dad was a salesman for a furniture company, and his territory changed, and we lived in actually Wichita for a while, and then they moved to Bonita. It was a little more central location for him, and I have a feeling that because of the priest who was head of the Catholic Church here, they also had a reason to move to Bonita. So.
Okay. And when would that have been?
That had been in the late 50s.
So where you were in school by then?
Yes.
And once you got here, where did you go to school? Take
I went to Sacred Heart Academy, which is no longer here. There is a little monument close to the church, but that's where I went to school. And I was one of the last graduating classes. I graduated in 1966, and I think the last class graduated in 67.
And it was 12, through grade 12?
Through grade 12,
Oh.
yes.
Did you have a favorite subject?
Science.
And did you participate in sports or?
Well, we did a little bit of basketball, but by the time I got junior, senior, there was only 5 people in my graduating class, 3 girls and 2 boys. So couldn't really field a team.
Well, did you have a debate team or something
No.
extracurricular? No.
No activities outside of homework.
Homework.
Yeah. The nuns were good about that.
Have a favorite teacher, instructor?
No, they were all pretty nice. Yeah.
And would you attend basketball games like for Bonita High School then, since you didn't have one of your own?
I did get to know some of the kids that went to Bonita High School,
Okay.
so I had friends that went to Bonita High School. Of course, my dream was always to go to Bonita High School, but my mom wouldn't allow it. She was Catholic all the way. Catholic school, good for you.
Were they the ones that would slap your hands when you didn't do?
Yes, they used the ruler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, was it on the hands though?
On the knuckles.
On the knuckles,
Yeah.
okay. Did they do that? Did you experience that any?
I might have once or twice.
Good enough.
Might have acted up once or twice.
Well, did your mother work outside of the home?
Yes, she worked at Eastern State Hospital
As what?
as a nurse in the psychiatric department, and then she was a teacher. She taught nurse's aid. I think about the last 10 years she worked out there.
Would she come home and tell interesting stories about what went on that day?
Yes, sometimes we would hear about it. And I was even fortunate enough to go to some of the rodeos here in town, the Will Rogers Rodeo, if you're familiar with that.
A little, not much.
They would take a bus of some of their patients there, and of course my mom would accompany them, and I'd get to go because I could get in for free. And it was pretty interesting riding with some of the patients.
I'd say.
They saw things I didn't see, so.
I got you.
Yeah.
And you have to help keep track of them while you were there?
No, I was just there for
Find yourself.
the entertainment, the rodeo, and the crowd that was with.
So education was important if your mother was a teacher plus a nurse. So you went to college?
Well, I started out going to college, but I wound up getting drafted. So.
That threw a kink in a lot of plans,
Yeah,
didn't it?
yeah.
What branch were you in?
Army,
Army.
101st Airborne Division.
And did you have to go over and see action?
Oh yeah, yeah. I went to Vietnam in '68.
And how long were you there?
A year and a half.
Okay. Did you get to come home during that year and a
I
half?
did one time. I got to come back.
And you were there the rest of the time overseas?
And, yeah. I did get an R&R, went to Hong Kong, which was really interesting place.
So combat,
Yes. Mhm.
rough time, I understand.
Some of it was, yeah.
Okay, so we won't delve into it too
Yeah,
much,
okay.
Well, when you came back from that, what did you do? Take me through your career at that point.
Actually, I went to work again for Host International, who had the glass house. My brother was working for them as well. And PA was working for them. And I got a job managing one of their small restaurant in Oklahoma City. And it was just a small restaurant attached to a gas station. And so I ran that for a couple of years.
Ran it as in?
As the manager.
Manager?
Yeah. Which meant being the cook and the waitress and
Being able to do it all.
the busboy and everything, yeah.
Well, then we should back up. I skipped a stage. Then if that was the second time you worked for him, what was the first time you worked for a host?
Well, that would be the glass house. And that would be, I'm not real sure of the dates. I'm thinking around my junior and senior year in high school.
Okay.
So it would have been 65 and part of 66.
So they had been, or they were coming up on their 10th anniversary then by that point, because I think it was opened in 57, 58, something like that, wasn't it?
Could have been. I don't remember any celebration or anything.
Okay, that was my next question. Well, how did you get that job, the first round?
Well, my brother had worked for them, and so I went out and applied. And Annabell Southern hired me. So
That was my next question. Who did that? So, do you remember what you were paid?
no, I don't think it mattered. Just a little check.
Just wanted a job.
Yeah.
And could you spend it however you wanted? What you earned?
Yes. Yeah. Gasoline mostly, so we could drag main.
Drag main.
Yeah.
And what did that entail?
That entails going up and down Bonita streets time and time again, in whatever kind of car you could find.
And what kind did you have, or your brother? Did you share one?
No, we each had that. Of course, my brother was about 5 years older than me, so he had his own car, and I had my own car.
And what was yours?
62 Pontiac Catalina, red, 2-door hardtop, 3-speed on the column.
Girls like to see it go by, I bet.
Yeah, it was pretty flashy for a teenager.
And that's when gas was what? 25 cents or 30
25
cents?
cents, yeah, 30 cents. You can get a few quarters from everybody and drive all night.
Well, was there a drive-in, like a food drive-in
Yeah.
somewhere along the way?
Yeah, there was a couple of them.
Okay. Did Bonita have a movie theater too at that time?
They did have a drive-in.
Okay.
They had a drive-in theater just outside of town.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's gone now.
And yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's a church now. And of course, they also had the center theater. It was still operating then.
Okay. So for fun, you would do that sort of thing. Did you do anything else like fishing or
Oh yeah,
something?
we all went to the lake, and swam, and fished,
Yeah, I forget that.
boat, and skied. Yeah,
Fun stuff.
fun stuff. Yeah.
Well, at the glass house the first time, you were, what was your position?
I started out as a busboy.
Okay. In the broiler room or cafeteria?
Yeah, in the main dining room. And then I did a little kitchen work, and then kind of like wherever they needed me, I did a little bakery work, and then one day they were real busy and asked me to wait tables, which I didn't really care for, but got through it.
Now, at that point, it's probably unusual to see a guy doing that.
Probably
In
was.
the 60s?
Probably was. I remember I waited on a family, and they were very nice. I think they put up with me. And they realized right away that I hadn't done this very much. So.
First day on the job, huh?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember baking anything in particular?
Oh, the breakfast rolls were one of my favorite.
That you made?
That was the great thing about the glass house. They did a lot of stuff from scratch. I don't remember them having anything frozen.
Or processed or whatever.
Processed, yeah. They even ground their own meat for their hamburgers,
Mm.
so they'd get that certain amount of fat to meat ratio that they like to have. So it was a good place. It was a great restaurant.
Well, could you make the sweet rolls today if you wanted to?
No, but I did come away with a good spaghetti recipe, though.
Was it the one, someone mentioned that earlier, an Oklahoma spaghetti? Was it Oklahoma spaghetti?
Well, it was Glass House spaghetti, and I had made it before, and then somehow I got their lasagna recipe, and I kind of combined the two. So within my family, I'm pretty well known for my spaghetti.
We'll have to share the recipe then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 of everything.
They mentioned the Oklahoma spaghetti had vegetables in it. The sauce had
Well,
some, and it was
this
mixed
does too.
together.
Celery,
Okay.
onions, bell peppers,
Okay.
mushrooms.
And they mixed the noodles in with it instead of on top of it. They did. Do you remember?
Well, I do the sauce all together,
Okay.
and then the noodles
Well, it's
are
close then.
separate. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Okay.
I didn't know they had called Oklahoma spaghetti.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
that's what she called it.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm learning all sorts of things about
Yeah.
food, including Mile High Lemon Pie.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. They were about that tall, I think.
They said it's
Yeah.
becoming a fishtail as to how tall it was.
That could be.
But I hadn't thought about how they said they used they mounted it high in the middle, and that's how they got it to be mile high. It wasn't today, people, just make it on one level, but
Yeah, no, it was, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
that's part of the bakery.
Yeah.
How many people worked with you in the bakery
There was at least 2 others.
at one time? And were you, were your hours?
Mostly from 6 till 2,
6 a.m.?
6 a.m.
So you weren't in school when you were doing those hours?
No, that was summer. That
Summer
was during the
hours.
summer, yeah.
And there were other or high school kids working with you, working around in there?
Not that I remember. It seemed like most of them were, I think Warren worked down in the bakery for a
He
while.
said he did for a while.
Yeah. And so we might have been down there together, and one other person I don't remember is.
Did you ever burn anything?
No.
No? What did you have to wear?
Well, they had the white pants and the white shirt that you put on.
They provided or did
Yeah, they provided that.
And did you have to laundry it or did they?
They took care
They
of
did
that.
that?
Yeah, from what I remember, yeah.
And you worked the summer, and then when school started back, did you just have less hours or stop?
I don't even think I worked part-time during school. But I think my last summer there was in '67, so that was just before I got drafted.
And Annabelle was still in charge
Yes.
at that point.
Yeah.
Any stories about her?
Well, she was a nice lady, and I remember of course we were teenagers, and we'd stay out late, and I think one day we came in, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning or something, so we just went on to work. And it's a little too early to go to work, so we just kind of piled some dirty laundry down on the floor, and we all took a little nap. Well, we didn't wake up at 6 o'clock, and Annabelle came in and read us the riot act, but that was about all she did.
Would she let you stay and keep working that day? Or
Yeah,
did
she
you
let
get-
us stay and keep working, but she sure let us know she wasn't happy with finding us sleeping in the bakery.
It's better than upstairs where public could see you, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
And I understand there were escalators.
Yes.
Do you have any stories about those?
Well, yeah, I do actually. This was even before I worked there, and we were grade school kids. And from what I remember, there was a play that we were in, and one of my friends was dressed up like a clown. I may have been too. And anyway, he had these homemade knitted socks, kind of like what a clown would wear, with real colorful and little balls on them. And going up the escalators, I guess that was a treat for us after the show, going up the escalators with his sock got caught in the things on the escalator where they come together, and started pulling his feet in and scrunching his toes up, and I guess his dad grabbed him and got him out of there before anything major happened, but he sure screamed, I remember that.
I think I would have too.
Yeah.
Escalators may not have been very many around in Oklahoma at that point,
I don't,
or at least not in this part.
yeah, I mean, it was unusual for Veneta to have an escalator, for sure. Yeah.
I haven't been back out. I don't know if they still have them or not, since they remodeled.
I think they do.
You've been in since?
Yeah, I've been
since
in. You know, I know we took the elevator up, so I don't know if they still had the escalators or not. That's a
we're
good
going to stop
question.
on our way back to
I
Stillwater.
would, yeah. Yeah, they had them on both sides, I believe. Both
Okay.
sides of
We'll have to stop and
the
look.
filling station, yeah.
I imagine that would have been a thrill for kids to.
Yeah, fun, and sliding down the middle.
You did that, or you watched someone do
I
that?
think so, yeah.
On your bottom or on your feet?
Yeah,
On your bottom?
yeah.
I imagine now that they would, but they would have those bumps in them so kids couldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't think they let them do that anymore. But, yeah, that's quite a deal.
So the first time you worked, you were all in the bakery, besides working in this, helping them upstairs for the server.
I think I worked in the bakery for maybe a week or so. Maybe I was filling in for somebody.
And then you were
That
back
wasn't my main job. Then I was back up in the kitchen
bussing tables.
or bus boy, and you know, in the kitchen buses would call up from Springfield and say, well, I've got 2 buses here, we're going to stop for lunch. So we'd get the line ready, the buffet ready for the buses, depending on how many people they had.
That was nice for them to call ahead. Was that just
Yeah.
typical for?
I think that was
buses?
typical for the bus drivers to do that.
That was very considerate.
Yeah,
And helped them on the end too.
and yeah, give them plenty of time to get ready and get the food ready and get it out there and get it warmed up. So yeah, it was a good deal. And we always liked buses. It was a fun time, it was active.
And until the line got too long.
Well, I don't think it ever bothered us. Glass House was a pretty big place, so it held them all.
You know, all those windows, did it get hot? When the
I don't remember it. Well, it had shutters on, and they would turn the shutters to block the sun.
Okay, cool it off a little.
Yeah, mhm. On both sides. I don't know if they were automatic or somebody controlled them,
Well, could you still see out the windows when they were?
but yeah, there was always a little bit of
So people could
yeah.
still sit by the window and see the
Yes,
cars
they were
going?
big shutters. They were vertical shutters, and they were huge,
Hmm.
as big as the windows are. So
Well, pretty big windows.
yeah.
I wondered how they cleaned them. Have any idea how they
Yeah, I
cleaned them?
never saw them clean the windows.
I mean, I think they'd have to.
Yeah, eventually.
And I wonder how many birds fly into them.
Mm-hmm.
See any interesting cars come by?
No,
Stick out?
the traffic just all went zooming by, but it was always fun to watch.
Any memorable customers, like famous people or irate ones or something that stands out?
No, I didn't have any experiences like that.
Nobody complained about you?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Probably didn't then.
Eventually, I wound up being the breakfast cook. And that was kind of fun.
How would they do their eggs? Did you have to crack them all
We had
yourself?
a little, like a 6-inch pan that we cooked all the eggs in, so they all came out nice and round, and cooked them in butter. And the breakfast cook was out front.
Oh, they got
So
some-
all the customers, you know, could watch you cooking breakfast if they so desired.
You better do
So
it.
I learned how to cook eggs over easy, over medium, and scrambled, and all that, and the bacon and the sausage. And it kept you busy for the first couple of hours. But my saving grace was the waitresses. They always pulled me through. they were on my side. So if I was having a bad day, they would help me. They'd help me get through it.
Well, and you were young at that time.
I was pretty young, yeah.
Yeah.
No older than 17 anyway.
And the waitresses were probably older,
Yes.
considerably older.
Yes.
So you had to crack your own eggs, or were they already?
No, I had cracked my eggs.
Huh. And do any of them wrong?
Yes. Just throw it out and start all over again.
Well, thank goodness eggs don't take too long to cook.
No, they don't. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And would the, like, things you would throw out, would they end up in the garbage, or did you have a particular bucket that someone else would come in and take somewhere?
In the trash.
And it-
I don't think they had any kind of recycling back then.
I'm just curious.
So I tried to keep it to a minimum, you know.
Would you get to fix your own and eat it there?
Yes.
You could
Yeah.
help at least eat something during the day there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'd have whatever meal, lunch more than likely.
Well, I would think you would get a pay raise from both from busboy to the cook, breakfast cook.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, I don't remember how much we were paid, but
Money wasn't important to
it
you.
wasn't important. Just having something to put gas in the car and getting us to the lake, that was the important thing. So
Have a girlfriend at that time
I probably did.
to spend money on. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why did you quit? Oh,
Well, I think I got drafted.
okay.
Basically, that's what
Yes,
took
about that
me,
time.
took me away, yeah.
And then you worked there again when you came back?
And, well, not at the Glass House, but I worked for them at
For
the
Host,
Oklahoma
Host
City. Yeah.
International.
Mhm. Yeah, same. Did Host International own them? Yeah, I think they did.
They did.
Yeah, because it was another chain that bought them out in the
How-
70s.
Howard
Johnson's, that's right. Yeah, so it was all Host International.
Until that point, from what I have gathered, it was Host International, then Howard Johnson, then McDonald's.
Yeah,
Is that
that sounds right.
correct?
Yeah,
So when you were there, it was still Host
it
International?
was still Host International, yeah.
Okay. And did they do similar things in Oklahoma City that you were doing? Well, you're managing then, but was it?
Well, they had that little restaurant, and then they had the gift shop and the Cowboy Hall of Fame. They operated that for many, many years.
And they had a gift shop here too, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
You didn't work in it though?
I didn't work in the gift shop, no.
You remember anything in particular about the gift shop?
Just a lot of trinkets, ashtrays with Oklahoma on them.
Someone mentioned lollipops,
Uh,
big lollipops.
Well, yeah,
They said there was a lollipop tree. I don't know what time period that was there. It may not have been during your time, maybe even earlier.
that could be.
No, could be earlier too.
Yeah.
Stay in touch with any of the people you met back from those days?
Oh, just every now and then we'll see somebody.
Well, how long were you in Oklahoma City?
About a year and a half.
And then what did you do? Take me through the rest.
And well, then I went to Stillwater for a semester, and then I came back to Veneta and worked for a gentleman that owned a Western Auto and a Radio Shack, and I'm a ham radio operator. So he wanted somebody to run the Radio Shack for him, and I was always interested in electronics, so I went to work for him here in Veneta.
And then did that for your, pretty much for,
And I did that for many years, about nine years, and I got married over that time frame. And then I went to night school at NEO and Tulsa Community College, and worked my way up to get an associate degree in computer programming.
okay.
So, after that, after I worked for Radio Shack, I went to work at Tulsa Community College. And I worked there for about 9 years.
Commuted back and forth? Or
We did for a while, and then and my wife worked at Eastern State Hospital. I did commute for a while, and then we moved to Claremore, kind of split the difference halfway. And we lived there till about 2000. And then I got a job at GRDA, doing the same thing, IT. Worked in IT.
And that brought you back to
And that brought me
Bonita?
back to
To
Bonita,
Bonita?
yeah.
Where do you consider home these days, or period? If someone asks, where's home, what do you, is it
Yeah, that's
Bonita?
Bonita.
Is it Bonita
Oh,
now?
yeah.
Hmm.
For sure.
Ham operating, that's interesting too.
Yeah.
Not too many of those around? Or-
Well, there's more now than there used to be. It's kind of a growing hobby.
It's coming back, huh?
There's lots of interest, and ham radio has really expanded into the digital age as well. There's all kinds of digital things you can do with amateur radio, so that brings in a lot of people that like to tinker with, gosh, there's so many. Digital Raspberry Pi, I don't know if you're familiar with that little computer you can buy for $35.
I'll have
Will
to
do
look
just
it up.
about anything a big computer will do if you know how to program it right. And they all integrate that into ham radio. So it's an interesting hobby, always changing.
Oh, how many antennas do you have?
I've got, my wife will love this question. I've got about 4 right now in the backyard.
And who do you listen to the most on those?
When it comes to, on the radio?
Yeah. what-
Oh gosh, I like DX, so foreign countries, and to make contact with them. And then I do contesting, where they have contests where you basically get on for a certain period of time and you try to make so many contacts. And you have to exchange certain information between the two of you, so when they check your records, they know both of you got the correct message.
Huh.
There's a point system, and they add up points. And
Who knew?
yeah, it's fun.
Well, can you listen in on radios for the truck drivers? You know, like the CB.
Well, that's CB radio, and yeah, we could. Most of the radios nowadays will cover the whole spectrum, and you could listen in, but not my thing.
I think you could hear some interesting things if you did.
Yeah, you do. Well, you hear some interesting things on ham radio too. It's just like with anything, there's good guys and then there's some bad apples, and so, but sometimes they're kind of funny to listen to.
How did you get interested in that?
My dad got me interested in it, and he knew a guy down the street that was a ham radio operator, and he took me down there one day and showed me his station, which was pretty awesome, and it got me started.
More interested in the gadgets than in the conversation, or both?
Yeah, I think so. More interested in the technology
Uh-huh.
than actual conversation.
I can see that too.
And you can find your niche either way. You can, whatever tickles your fancy at the time, you can get on and what they call rag chew and just talk to somebody for 30 minutes or an hour, or you can just make short contacts with maybe a station that's overseas and has 100 guys trying to talk to them, because there's awards for working in so many countries around the world as well.
It's kind of like this, similar to this Pokemon Go that people are doing, where you're collecting.
It is. Matter of fact, they're even kind of associating some of it with the ham radio. I haven't really got into it, but somehow.
That's the extent of my knowledge. So.
Yeah, me too when it comes to Pokemon Go, yeah.
And no, it's not necessarily a good thing for driving, when you're driving.
Yeah.
So in your spare time, you're doing the ham radio?
Yes.
In your spare time?
Yeah, I do.
Are you retired now?
Retired.
Retired, what year?
Be 4 years ago this September.
Time flies, huh?
Yeah.
And you've been back to the glass house since they remodeled.
Yes.
What do you think of it compared to what it was when you were there?
Just a big wide open space now. Boy, the dining room was pretty nice, and they served steaks and lobster and just all kinds of good food. And of course the buffet, they had the nice buffet there. So yeah, it was a little sad to see it all gone. Now it's a Subway and
McDonald's. And for a while it was painted gold, wasn't it? The arch was painted gold like a McDonald's arch would be.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, someone mentioned, and they weren't sure either. I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah.
Because I know for a while it was considered the largest McDonald's in the world for a time.
Yes, it was.
So I think they would wolf their Archie's gold at that point.
Probably.
For publicity if nothing else. Remember any traveler stories? Anyone that stands out, like if they were stranded or snowstorm or anything like that?
No. Everybody came and went as far from when I worked there.
And you had been there before you went to work there, you said. Was it?
Yes.
Did you go before, besides that one time with the kids, with your kids, classmates?
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't go out there.
As the family
for
went.
an occasion. That was the kind of place you might go to for a special occasion. So.
Well, did your class have its prom there? Some did.
No, but some did, and I do remember working one or two proms, and it was always fun. But the one thing I remember from the proms is when they would finish eating and have the dance, and I do remember the building kind of going up and down with the rhythm of the dancers on the floor, which is a little freaky. I guess steel is a little flexible, so.
Yeah, true. And the music would filter down to wherever, or over to wherever you were?
Yeah, well, I was working the food for them, so yeah, I was right there.
They'll be on the same, oh, you were in the same.
The same floor.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You weren't down in the bakery then? You
No,
were
not down the
the-
bakery or.
The bakery's probably closed when they had proms.
Yeah, it was just, I think just for their breakfast and rolls and stuff like that, once they got it done. Well, the dishwasher was down there too.
Okay.
I remember I worked I dishwashed a time or two.
Fun, huh?
They had one of the chutes that came down from up above, and trays of dishes, spray and run them through the Hobart. That was the dishwasher.
And try not to break them, huh?
Yeah, try to be careful.
The dishwasher was called Hobart, or that was just the
Hobart
company?
was the name of the company
company.
that made it, yeah.
It's
I
interesting
don't know
that
why I
you
remember that, but I guess I didn't like washing dishes, feeding the Hobart.
I guess most things came down empty though. I guess they cleaned it before they got to, it wouldn't come
Yeah,
down
I
with
think-
leftover food on it.
Yeah.
The waitresses would take care of that,
Yeah.
or the busboy
Yeah.
person. I shouldn't say
Shipping
busboy
it down
anymore.
to us, yeah.
What was your favorite thing that you ate there?
Hmm.
Breakfast and lunch?
Wow. I don't know. I guess I like the spaghetti. I've always been a spaghetti person, so
Okay.
it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Someone mentioned putting chili on top of macaroni and cheese. Is that
Oh.
something that you saw?
I don't know if I saw that or not. I don't remember chili.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe they fixed that for themselves behind the scene and
Maybe.
didn't serve it
Well,
on
I didn't
lunch.
make the chili, that's for sure.
Pie crust, in the bakery you would have made pie crust.
Yeah. I remember the sweet rolls though, because they were so good, fresh out of the oven. Mm.
And you could stitch one before you
Oh,
sent
yeah,
them
absolutely.
or two.
Yeah. And they made their own icing too. They whipped up their own icing. It was just good.
And pancakes, they were known for their pancakes.
Oh, yeah. They were so thick. And they would raise up. Oh, they were great.
Well, who would have to make that batter? Would it be in your department, the bakery department?
Well, I do. Well, I don't remember making the pancake batter, but they would let it refrigerate overnight. And it would kind of rise up. And so you'd have to punch it down and add a little milk to it to get it to thin out, so it's thin enough that you could ladle it out and cook it on the grill. So I remember doing that.
And it wasn't waffles, it was pancakes.
It was pancakes.
Pancakes.
Yeah.
And stack them high and send them out. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. 3 of them made a pretty good stack.
Would you have to do that part when you were on the kitchen, the breakfast line, or were you just mainly eggs and bacon?
Well, no, we did the pancakes.
You did pancakes too. Did you cook at home?
Just spaghetti.
Just spaghetti?
Yeah.
Not pancakes?
Just spaghetti. Well, I've done pancakes once or
Hey,
I never
spaghetti's good.
never could match the way they got theirs to puff up like that.
I understand no one could, so you're not alone.
Oh, okay.
Others have tried.
I wish I'd have had that recipe now that I think of it.
Someone's got to have all of those. I don't know, maybe it's at Host International, whoever has their archive
You
records.
know, when I got the spaghetti recipe, it was on a negative. You know, so they could make prints of it to put in the book. And so somebody
Has a book.
has the negatives at least, maybe, that they made their books out of, their directions on how to prepare the food.
We're gonna have to dig. Someone needs to dig. That'd
Maybe
be great.
somebody's got that somewhere, yeah.
I think there's enough interest.
Except for the spaghetti recipe.
Well,
Or, like I say, it was lasagna, but I modified it a little bit. Yeah.
hamburger meat and veggies in it too, the lasagna.
I think that was more the tomato-based recipe. Yeah.
Well, you got an interest in cooking while you worked there, or did you already?
I did have a little bit, and actually when I went to OSU, I was kind of leaning towards a hotel and restaurant
Okay.
degree. And I did go to a cooking class when I was at OSU.
Where did you live on campus?
Well,
Where did
PA had a house he rented. I lived with
Lived
PA
with him?
Hinkle.
Did he finish at OSU?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I don't know if he's come yet, but we'll have to ask him about that. Was his in hotel management?
No, I think he did animal stuff. We used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go out to milk farms, and he would test butterfat content in the farmer's milk.
And you would go with
I
him?
went with him just to see what it was all about.
And you just stayed one semester? Why did you, what prompted you to leave?
I don't know, I was still kind of getting over Vietnam and just
Didn't fit?
wasn't in the
time.
cards for me at the time, yeah.
But you were taking a full load, like 12 hours?
Yes.
Just 3 or 4 classes?
Yeah.
Ever visit the library?
Probably not as often as I
Probably
should have.
Walk by Theta Pond or go in the student union? No, not really, huh?
Not really, no.
Just hang out with PA.
Yeah,
That was interesting times on campus too, right when Vietnam was over and other students coming back. It was interesting from what I understand.
yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't there then, but
yeah. I don't remember there being any assistance like there is now for veterans coming back.
yeah,
So
that's true too.
probably could have used something like that.
When you came back, did you fly into Tulsa or did you come through
Tulsa.
Tulsa? No fanfare either, I bet.
No,
No.
except when I got home.
Mom and Dad were glad to see
Big
you.
banner, welcome home, Johnny.
And you got whatever you wanted to eat that night for dinner.
I did pretty good for a while, yeah.
And then how did you meet your wife?
Actually, I knew her from, let's say, when we were 15, we met. Our school had a sock hop, and spotted her across the room. So we became friends for, I don't remember how long it was, 6 months or something like that. And then she moved to Tulsa, and but I met her brothers, and they stayed in Bonita. So even though she moved away, I still have her brothers to hang out with, so I did okay. But then about 1979, she came back to Bonita. The rest is history.
So she was going to Catholic school too?
Oh, no,
No?
she was Bonita.
She was
High school.
good. So the schools got together for dances, or you just?
It was just a sock hop for anybody to come
Oh,
to.
anybody, it wasn't just
Yeah.
school, it was,
They couldn't have it for just Sacred Heart because there would only be 3 or 4 people.
okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Did you have to wear a uniform, class uniform?
No, I didn't.
Sacred Heart?
No uniform. Sacred Heart was a school for wayward girls. And any Catholic kids in the town that wanted to go to school there, they could go to school there. So they had boarders
Wow.
that stayed there.
That makes for some interesting transitional friends coming through if the girls came and went.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because sometimes they'd come and they'd be there for 3 to 6 months, then they'd leave for 3 months and then come back. So some of them were pregnant
Yeah.
and various broken homes and stuff like that.
Well, if there was a class of 3, would there be more than one class in your room at one time? I mean,
Yeah, there could be, yes.
I mean, one nun instructing 3 kids at one time doesn't seem quite efficient, but
Well, 5.
5.
Yeah.
Well, still.
3 girls and 2 boys.
But there might be 3rd and 4th grades together then, or something.
Yeah, there were some others in the classroom.
Combined.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't seem to bother us, though.
Did they teach you music? Did you have music?
Yes, they did. I actually took piano lessons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had a piano at home to practice on?
We did. And I made it through a couple of years of piano lessons.
And recitals?
Because, I got to the point where I wanted to play some rock and roll, but they wanted me to play Chopin or whatever.
But you could read music at least?
Yeah, I could read music, and we did a few concerts. And, did some testing up at Miami. They would have a NEO. They would have I don't know what they called it, but students who were playing musical instruments would go up there and they'd play for the listeners, and they would grade their performance and how they did. So.
Kind of like a spelling bee, but not. I mean, I know
Yeah,
a
kind of like
little
that,
competition.
just for music. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. It was fun. I like music.
Singing too. Did you sing?
Not really.
Some more play.
No,
Okay.
just in the shower.
Instrumental then. Okay. Well, your mother was a nurse, right? You said.
Right.
And your dad was
Salesman
salesman.
for a furniture company.
And he stayed. That's what he did for his.
Yeah, till he
finish
retired.
retirement. And then your brother.
He graduated from OSU, and
Before, so he's 5 years older. You said.
yeah,
5 years.
he lives in Texas.
What did he graduate with from OSU? What degree?
I think it was just a business degree. Yeah.
Okay. So he would have already been gone by the time you were there for your 1 semester,
Yeah.
if he's that much
Oh, yeah.
older than you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was married.
And do you have children?
2 girls.
2 girls.
Yeah.
And are they local? Are they in still in
Yeah, one
Bonita?
lives here in town, and the other one lives over at the lake.
Okay, close enough.
Yeah.
And are they OSU any?
No.
Either one? Okay.
No. Northeastern.
Okay.
Tahlequah. One of them graduated from Tahlequah.
I like it over there. It's pretty.
Yeah.
The smaller campus is pretty.
Yeah, she liked it there.
And are they interested in ham radios?
No, I can't get anybody in my family interested in radio. Doggone it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, did either one of them work at the Glass House? Or
Uh,
McDonald's, whichever it was at that point?
No, they didn't.
Have you told them stories about when you worked there?
I don't know if that's come up or not.
Uh-huh. It
Maybe
will-
now,
it will
though,
now,
that
yes.
you've refreshed my memory. Yeah.
Yes, they'll be asking you to make certain things.
They asked me to make a lemon pie, mile-high lemon pie.
You know, or fry them eggs sunny side up or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Most people probably voted scrambled eggs
Yeah,
was the more popular than the others.
yeah, over easy.
Over easy.
Yeah.
Well, then you have to get the whites just so. just
Over
right.
easy were a little tough, over medium was a little tough to get it just right. No white, runny yellow.
Yeah. Went through a lot of eggs. each
Over
morning,
easy, you
but-
could have a little runny white, that's okay, they like that.
And if they were watching, they could say, go a little bit longer.
They could, yeah. If they were at the counter, they could holler at me.
They fix that. Over easy. Give me scrambled, I'm happy.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, they were talking about, someone was saying they worked the sandwich line and they couldn't quite get it down pat. So she moved in real quick. Was she like that? She was Annabelle, watching to see what you could and couldn't handle, and then tried to find the right slot for you. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, probably that did happen. I was concentrating so much on what I did, I didn't notice anybody else in the background. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe if I got moved somewhere else, that was a sign, but I didn't know it.
Well, maybe she thought you were doing well, or she
Huh?
wouldn't have moved you.
Moved me up,
Wouldn't
yeah.
have moved you up to the breakfast
Could be. I
line.
never got moved up to waiter, so I don't think I did that very well.
Well, you didn't get demoted
No,
back from the kitchen, from the breakfast line to something else.
no, I only remember washing dishes a couple of
Okay,
times. So,
there you go.
yeah.
What do you remember? Anything else about her in particular, Annabelle?
She was just always nice to the guys, it seemed like, and really enjoyed her as a boss.
Did she come by and make sure you were doing things right, or just trust you to do what you were supposed to do?
I think she kept an eye out, but she never really kind of intruded into your space. She kind of watched from a distance, I think, just to make sure things were going well.
She was a manager by walking around. Is that the right word? They say where they walk around to see if everybody's at least where they're supposed to be.
Supposed to be doing their thing.
Or were you there during a holiday like Thanksgiving or Christmas?
No, I don't think so.
So mostly summer.
Mostly summer.
So July 4th would have been the main.
Yeah.
holiday. A lot of people coming through, tourists or?
Yes, it was busy. It was almost always busy.
And mostly tourists or some local or returns for
There
regulars?
were a lot of salesmen that were regulars, had their regular routes, and they'd come through at certain times. And
I guess you could tell them what they're.
yeah, they're always dressed up, suit and tie. And
Hopefully they left decent tips for the
I
waiters.
think they probably did. I would think so.
What about truck drivers, semi-truck drivers?
I don't remember so much, but we did have for a while, now that I think about it, there was like a little short order cafe on one end that was open.
Snack bar.
Yeah, a snack bar.
Okay.
And so maybe they did that more than they
They went
did
to
the
her.
actual sit down in the restaurant, sit down and have a nice
Yeah.
meal and get waited on.
That would be true. And they'd be in a hurry to go on to the next.
But I don't know if maybe they avoided it because they had to pay to get on the turnpike. Maybe they didn't like to pay.
Yeah, that's
Back
true.
then, now that's not a thing. There's just so many trucks on the Will Rogers Turnpike anymore. It's,
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And back then, that would have been something kind of new and different, was to pay a toll
Yeah,
to use
true.
the road. And they still had old 66 going through town, so
Okay, that makes sense.
maybe that's,
And then they had full service was it still full service gas stations on each side
I
when
believe so.
you were
yes.
there?
Uh-huh. Although it didn't have anything to do with the gas stations, that was
Right.
totally different company. And was it Conoco? It was Conoco.
Someone said, yeah, I haven't talked with anyone yet. That's next. The next person that's coming is
Okay.
Conoco connected. So
Yeah.
I'll learn a little bit about full
Yeah.
service. Don't get that anymore,
No.
or at least not that I'm aware of. There's probably places that do.
There might be. Not around here.
Not in Bonita.
No. Self-serve.
Would you have been? No, you wouldn't have been here. 'Cause you were out when the turnpike was being built. That would have been before y'all
Yeah, that.
came into town, because that was in the late 50s, I guess.
Yeah.
57,
Yeah, that's what
56,
I'm
I think.
thinking, 57,
So you
somewhere
weren't
around
here.
there.
I was just curious how the town of Bonita responded, to the turnpike and to the last house being built. If it hurt their business, or thought they would be, or I don't know.
I don't think the restaurant probably hurt anybody else's business in town.
Okay.
I really don't, because it, except for working out there, it was way far away, because, you couldn't park right up next to the building, go in and eat. You had to park outside the fence. walk past all the pumps and stuff to get into the restaurant, and that was on both sides.
Huh.
So, you know, it wasn't like your friendly local restaurant where you could pull right up and go in and eat.
Like Clinton's?
Clanton's. Yeah, they survived. Nicely.
Okay. And Route 66 has semi-survived through here, so
Yeah.
you see that sign. So Benita's alive and well?
Yeah, it's doing okay. Yeah,
Glad you came back.
I think so. Yeah, it's been nice.
Well, did anything from the glass house carry over into the rest of your life? And learning to be on time and
Yeah, don't sleep in the
don't sleep in.
bakery.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think what carried over was just I really liked all the people that came in and out of the restaurant at all times. You know, there's always just a continual change of scenery, you could say, different people to see and watch and talk to. And I don't know, I always enjoyed that. That was one reason I kind of pursued hotel and restaurant for a while.
Customer service.
Customer service, yeah.
Yeah.
And I still actually did customer service because when I worked in IT, I did IT support.
Mhm.
So
that's
kind of the same
carry over.
thing, yeah.
Yes, I would think so too.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Well, except that I think the Glass House was a fantastic place, and I really enjoyed my time working there.
And it's an iconic
Everybody
building.
I worked with, and it was really great. Yeah, and that's right. I forgot to mention that. I was going to mention that, but yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic building, especially for Veneta, Oklahoma, to have something like that so close that you could go out and enjoy.
Mhm. And it was the only one on the turnpike, wasn't it? And the only one in Oklahoma, isn't it? That's over the
Yes, it's over
on the turnpike.
Well, now on the Turner Turnpike, they had a walkway
Okay.
over, and the restaurant was on the other. So people going south to Oklahoma City would go up the escalator and go on the walkway and go over to the restaurant on the other side, which was the people coming this direction.
Okay,
So they had that, but it still wasn't the same thing.
it's still a pretty image when you're driving under it.
Yes.
And I noticed when we were coming up, there's a statue in the middle of it now. I'm
Yes.
assuming Will Rogers. I haven't stopped, but I'm assuming that's who it is.
I always think there's somebody there waving at me.
I thought that too this morning.
But it is Will Rogers, yeah. Well, there were two other restaurants that they had. They had a restaurant in Miami,
Host International.
Host International, and then they had a restaurant down by Claremore. So there was actually three restaurants of various sizes. They were much smaller, and they, of course, didn't go over the highway.
Well, were they called Glass House too, or were they with the
No.
different names? Different names.
Just different things, yeah. But they were all part of Host International.
You didn't have to go work at those to fill in.
No, but we would deliver supplies sometimes if somebody ran out.
Okay. It was a big company at one point, this Host International was.
Yeah, they had restaurants in airports and
Oh,
things all over the continental U.S. as far as I can remember. It was a big corporation.
I hadn't heard of it, so
I don't know what happened to it.
Well, and Howard Johnson was around for a while, and then it kind
Yes.
of
Yeah,
disappeared.
I don't know. Wonder what happened. Tourist traffic just.
I don't know. That would be my guess.
Could
Faster, faster, faster.
fast. Get in, get out. We want to get on our way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's the way it is nowadays, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now with ham radios, it might be a little slower.
Could be, a little bit, but yeah, a little slower pace. You take it at your own pace. So
Well, there's certain lingo, like when you're signing off for someone, what do you say? Is there-
you say 7-3,
so that's good.
which
I'm
means
hanging up.
best wishes.
7-3.
And if it's happens to be a family member or a girlfriend, you would say 88, which is love and kisses.
Then what about hello?
Hello.
Just plain old hello?
Yeah.
And then do you have, this might be a dumb question, do you have a handle? Or is that more of a
That's more CB.
CB? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, some of this derives from Morse code, because, you know, back in the early days of radio, Morse code was a little more prevalent than voice over the air. And so the, like 7.3, I think, came from Morse code because it was just two numbers that were easy to send with Morse code.
Oh, cool. So what's the furthest away you've contacted?
Probably India or Malaysia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Mars yet.
No, I haven't. They do moon bounce though.
Okay.
They point their antennas at the moon, and it has to be a full moon. And they'll send their signal up there, and it'll bounce back, and they'll hear themselves however many seconds later it takes for your signal to get there and get back. I have worked satellites though. We have some satellites up circling the Earth that you can operate with ham radio. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, so there's more of you in Bonita? Or you're...
There's a few. There's a good dozen, I'd say, in and around Bonita.
So how often do you get on yours? Once a day or not that much? Or
Probably a little bit every day.
a little bit just to see what's going on?
Yeah. Just
I've
to
never
see.
talked with anyone about ham radios. That's cool.
It's a lot of it has to do with the sunspot cycle as to how far you can get out and what the band conditions are. And right now we're in a low sunspot cycle, so the band conditions aren't that good. And then there's solar storms that cause problems. But there are other bands or frequencies you can get on that allow you to talk, maybe not around the world, but you know, in the next state or on the East Coast.
Well, does the terrain have anything to do with it? Like,
It does with certain types of transmission, yeah.
so we're pretty flat here to be okay versus the Smoky Mountains.
Well, we have, our club actually operates 2 repeaters. And the repeater takes a signal in from a small radio in your vehicle and it retransmits it. Of course, the repeaters are up on hills, so they're above all the terrain, and it's line of sight transmission, which is, I think, what you're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would talk to the repeater, which would bounce our signal out, and then we could talk to a guy in Claremore or over at the lake or Bartlesville.
Pretty cool.
So that's one thing that we have a little club in Bonita that maintains those couple of repeaters.
So do you keep one in your car, or is it?
I keep a little radio in the car that connects to the repeaters, and we can chat if we hear each other on, or give each other a call.
And your wife's not into this?
No, so they all think it's nerdy.
Oh.
Every time I put a new antenna on my vehicle, it's nerdy.
Well, how many does it have, your car?
It's just got one.
It's got...
But 2 actually, it's got a little satellite antenna on it, but I didn't put that there. I just bought a new vehicle, and then they said, well, you going to nerd it up with an antenna? Well, of course.
There'll come a day when they appreciate that,
Maybe, yeah.
I think.
Ham radio operators do a lot of public service work, especially in times of disaster and stuff, and they'll get out and provide communications.
Well, do they have anything to do with when they're storm chasers, when they're chasing tornadoes and stuff? Or
Well, you know, that's become kind of commercialized anymore, and around here, the TV stations have their spotters. That's pretty much their job. They go out and spot, but I'd say a lot of them are ham radio operators, so they operate their radios as well as their cell phones that they connect back to the TV station with. So yeah, they do it a little bit, not as much as they used to. I used to be a spotter back when I was back 20, 30 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. But,
Gary England days. Oh.
maybe even before that.
Maybe before that. Okay.
Yeah.
And in Oklahoma, that's an important job, I think,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah, there weren't too many of us back
Mm-hmm.
back then, and I think it was just starting to flourish with radar and everything, and the local TV stations had finally had their own radar that they could look at.
Doppler.
Yeah,
Doppler.
newer radar.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's an interesting hobby. It's got
Yes.
a lot of facets to it. You can find a niche for just about anything you do.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, you don't really have to be a tech person to get into it, but it is licensed through the federal government, so you have to take a test. There's actually 3 tests, 3 licenses that you can obtain. One of them is a technician license, which would be the easiest one, and it's just a little bit of electronics and mostly rules and regulations. And the next one is the general ticket, which that's one of the tickets you want, because that gives you access to all the other frequencies and stuff that the tech license did. And then there's the extra class for those that like to be really nerdy and go all the way.
So you've got that one, huh?
Yeah.
It's probably, so you would not tell secrets or things, confidential type stuff would,
No.
for regulations?
No.
Not that.
Well, the regulations really didn't, the only thing the regulations covered was cursing.
Oh, okay.
They don't like that.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's courtesy. Back when I was, back in the 60s, when they were kind of teaching me about ham radio, they just said, well, there's 2 things you don't talk about on ham radio, religion and politics. Otherwise, it's wide open. You say anything you want.
Mhm.
So if you want to tell your own secrets, you could, but most people
You
didn't.
just couldn't talk about Trump today.
No. Well, but they do. That's kind of changed a little bit. There's more politics and religion now than there used to be.
That's interesting.
But it's not just hams in the U.S. too. I mean, Canadian hams, Mexican,
True.
they're all out there. So.
Well, I appreciate you taking time off
Oh.
from your hams to come and talk to us
All right.
today about this.
Yeah,
If there's nothing else, I'll say 7-3.
there you go.
Okay.
7-3. Thank you.
Thank you.